Hello, I'm Brian Berman, and I'm president and founder of the Institute for Integrative Health. I want to thank Professor Susan Prescott and inVIVO for the opportunity to be involved with the Planet Earthrise conference. Switching gears from an in-person meeting in Amsterdam to such a beautifully curated and thought-provoking online format was no small feat. Congratulations. When Susan asked me to give a talk on the closing day of the conference, I thought in part it would be important for me to try and connect the dots and discuss the interrelatedness of everything we've heard about, from food and nutrition and the human microbiome, to the environment, the microbiome of the soil, climate change, nature, art, mindfulness, and so much more. I also thought contextualizing this in light of the extraordinarily challenging times we are currently living through would be important. But as I was discussing this with my wife, Sue, and saying how I'm a child of the 60s who has lived through and been actively involved before in terms of great societal upheaval and calls for change, I had one of those aha moments. It wasn't her calling me an aging hippie, which rankled, I admit, but her reminder to me to hurry up and get on with things because of our grandchildren. It seems cliche to say the 60s were all about the transformative power of love. We can leave out the sex, drugs, and rock and roll part for now. But was in this moment of being extolled to hurry up because the grandchildren were about to arrive for a few-day visit that I thought, yes, I do, we do need to hurry up. We need to change the world now. Being with my grandchildren is one of the greatest moments of joy and love for me. They are the happy thought I have when I get out of bed in the mornings. We cannot blow things for their happiness, their joy, their future. And so came the genesis of my talk today, the 7th generation principle of the Native American Iroquois people. Are the decisions we're making today resulting in a sustainable world 7 generations into the future? Are we being good ancestors for our granddaughters' granddaughters? Some of the main questions I'd like to raise are, 1, are we truly valuing health as a public good, a basic human right? 2, when we talk about healthcare, are we actually focusing on disease care and just ignoring the many interconnected factors that have far more impact on health than a visit to the doctor's office or a hospital? And 3, are awe and wonder the antidote to crisis and fear? In the United States, I do not think we have settled the question of whether health is a core value, a public good worthy of public investment. Unlike almost every other developed nation, we have not made healthcare affordable or free to everyone regardless of their income or whether they have a job. Across the globe, if health was a core value, we would all recognize there's no health without clean air, clean water, access to nutrition-rich foods, safe neighborhoods, adequate housing, access to quality education, and the policies of every department of our governments and every practice of the corporate world, farming, agriculture, the food industry, urban planners, would be built on this value. Let's cut right to the chase here, and as an example, take on the burning issue of this moment, the global coronavirus pandemic. From the immediate medical standpoint, we have to address it by instituting public health measures while developing a vaccine. However, in the bigger, more complex vision, what we are actually facing is a virus layered upon a global tsunami of already life-threatening chronic diseases like cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, and so on, which are a pandemic in their own right. COVID-19 is exposing deep cracks in our societal systems, as these chronic conditions are particularly high in communities that are poor and comprised of minorities who suffer inequalities deeply embedded in our society. Additionally, the very fact that the coronavirus leapt from animals to humans shows us that climate change and degradation and destruction of the environment is incredibly stressing us and the animals around us. Everything is interlinked and interrelated. Okay, I'd like to pause there. I love the expression taught to me by a friend of mine who does a lot of the courage work, developed by the great educator and humanist Parker Palmer. That is, when the going gets tough, turn to wonder, which is my third and final point. This is the Chinese character for crisis called Wei Ji. There's two components to it. The top part means fear and chaos. Certainly, that is what we have right now. Understandable that we can get entrenched by fear and immobilized by a sense of insecurity. The bottom part of the character means opportunity. Here is where hope comes in. These crises offer a portal of opportunity. And to quote Jonas Salk, creativity is not a luxury. Ideas are as important as genes. Are we going to use our imagination, our sense of infinite possibilities, our creativity to actually manifest the kind of world we do want to live in? Are we going to make the radical changes needed to save this planet for our grandchildren's grandchildren? I'd like to end with two letters I wrote to my granddaughters, thinking ahead 15 years when they'll be leaving high school and launching out into the world as adults. One, where I apologize to them for getting it wrong, and the other where we get it right. Two letters. First letter, we got it wrong. Dear Landon and Daphne, I am so proud of you both. In this year 2035, as you finish up your high school years, I see such beautiful, caring, intelligent, and strong young women. You're about to launch into your lives as fully fledged adults and citizens of the world. And instead of celebrating, all I can do is weep and ask for your forgiveness. I am so sorry for the world that my generation has destroyed and that you are now left with. When you were small, the first of many pandemics, COVID-19, struck and was raging out of control. The whole world was forced into a lockdown, but we noticed how the air became cleaner. We could hear birdsong again. We sang from our balconies and banged pots and pans in support of all the frontline workers, putting their own lives at risk to save ours. We also squirmed with the realization of what an inequitable world we lived in as the elderly, the poor, and the people of color got sick and died in far higher numbers. We reeled from the news of more wildfires. We agonized at Black men dying at the hands of the police. We despaired that the polar cap was melting and the Amazon disappearing. But instead of altering our course, we thought trimming the sails would be enough, and we would let ourselves go aground on the rocks of fear and the shoals of anger and despair. We retreated deeper into the perceived safeness of our old belief systems and habits, pointing fingers, passing blame to others, and losing our civility. We chose to ignore science. We let leaders feed into our fear and allowed greed be the captains of our political and economic ships. The floods of change have been severe, literally and metaphorically. They have engulfed us. You are now left to deal with a world where water levels have submerged our cities, yet we do not have enough safe water to drink, where obesity rivals famine in ravaging our health. You bear the weight of a chronically ailing planet on your shoulders. I love your can-do attitudes, your compassion, your creativity. Thank goodness you have all that. It is our only hope. Pretty depressing. Let's go to the second letter. We got it right. Dear Daphne and Landon, how proud I am of my intrepid and curious sailors. You are about to leave high school and embark on a voyage of new discoveries and infinite possibilities. Ain't life grand? I see awe and wonder filling your hearts as you contemplate the mysteries ahead. First, you'll be adventuring into the realms of public service as you take part in the gap year that was globally mandated after the mess our generation got into in 2020. Along with everyone else your age, you'll dedicate yourselves to a year of helping others, the land, the environment, the many species, all of which have now rebounded and are beginning to flourish again. What possibilities lie ahead for you after that? I see how eager you both are to step into your roles as creators of the reality you want to live in. The mystery that lies ahead could include being a doctor, because you love to listen and relate to others, as well as actively mentor others in healthy living skills, which, by the way, are now highly prized by our medical system. Or maybe you'll become architects, because you've been so inspired by how adults listen to children and built moss-covered fairy houses like yours, and quickly turned every urban center in the world into green biophilic cities with buildings covered with plants, trees, vegetables, bees, and nesting birds. You see, girls, back in 2020, we got a seismic wake-up call. The chaos and devastation we were facing caused widespread fear. In biblical Hebrew, there are several words for fear. One is pachad, the fear that paralyzes us, stemming from the risk-averse primitive reptilian area of our brain. Another word is yira. Yira refers to that mixture of awe and trembling we feel in the presence of the divine, like Moses when he faced the burning bush in the desert, or in that still small voice within us. It is the awe and wonder that has allowed us to evolve as a species, and it is what motivated us in 2021. We threw out the old rule book. We listened to our inner voice, our higher selves, and raced to beat the clock of destruction by imagining a new reality based on our values of love, compassion, empathy, and our belief in justice and equity. Welcome to this new world. Go forth and make it even better. Thank you.